Without a doubt, one of the cutest and most chaotic little creatures in cinema are the Minions. There are thousands of them, but do you recognize all the different styles and variations of Minions? Some are really bizarre. There's no better way to kick off than with the most well-known Minion, Kevin. And yes, Minions do have regular human names. One of Kevin's most incredible transformations happens when he steps into a machine and grows so large that he towers over the city's buildings. But of course, this was to be expected because, as always, everything with Minions happens by accident. They're naturally clumsy and have been causing mayhem for thousands of years. These little yellow creatures are inspired by the Oompa Loompas from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and the Jawas, one of the alien species in Star Wars. It's true, the way the Minions speak is very similar to the language of the Jawas. Today, we're going to check out all 25 Minion variations, so grab your snacks and get ready for another Cinewave adventure. After the success of the first movie about Gru and his daughters, it was clear there would be a sequel, and in this second film, we meet a Minion variation that's even worse than the normal ones. If you can call any Minion normal, let's be honest, they're anything but. Still, worse than regular Minions are the Purple Minions, created by the evil El Macho, the main villain of the second movie. The Purple Minions are an aggressive mutation, created in a lab to serve as El Macho's henchmen. They're funny, but also a bit scary, and above all, they're creepy. Be honest, did they give you nightmares? I think it's safe to say the Purple Minions are like a disease, but fortunately, our heroes found a way to cure their yellow buddies. If yellow and purple weren't enough, we also got a glimpse of a pink Minion version, and you're going to fall in love. Unfortunately, they're not real, not even within the franchise's universe. In this scene, the Minions go camping with Gru's daughters to become scouts, but after eating some suspicious berries, things go terribly wrong, and they start seeing everything in pink. This scene is part of a short film on Netflix called Minions and More 1, a collection of little stories featuring these creatures. Cute, right? Too bad there's no real pink Minion. Illumination and Universal Studios definitely struck gold with the Minions. They're so full of possibilities that besides costumes and disguises, they can even turn into animals. But in this version, it's not a lab experiment. It's a magical medallion called the Zodiac Stone that allows people and Minions to shapeshift into animals. This relic plays a central role in the growth of our favorite villain in the movie Minions: The Rise of Gru. Want to know the craziest part? One of them turns into a chicken and lays an egg, which hatches into a chick. Does this mean Minions can get pregnant? Speaking of magical medallions, of course there had to be magical Minions too, and we couldn't miss out on the variation where they turn into Santa's elves. In a Christmas special that came out alongside Minions: The Rise of Gru, we saw these little villainous helpers teaming up with Santa Claus, who delivers gifts at the end of the year. Does that mean Santa is a bad guy? Actually, the Minions were just dressed up more than they truly became elves, as if they could get any more special. But in true Minion fashion, they caused a lot of chaos and almost ruined Christmas. The Yellow Elves also make an appearance in a game called Minion Rush. Did you know there was a Minion game? I didn't, but now I'm excited to play. Minion's favorite fruit is the banana.
C'est la banana! Yum, yum!
In fact, they were the ones who named the fruit since they've been around longer than all of humanity. But it seems like you really shouldn't let a Minion go hungry, because otherwise they start seeing food everywhere, even in their fellow Minions. In the first Minions movie, there's a scene where they're on a boat, starving, and Stuart starts imagining two of his friends as bananas and almost devours them. The second Minions movie also introduced a variation of these creatures that aren't exactly alive, but are clearly still Minions. Remember that magical medallion I mentioned? The one that turns things into animals? To get that medallion, you need to make it past an ancient temple deep in the jungle, which is guarded by an aggressive golden version of the Minions. You already know our yellow friends have been around for thousands of years, influencing many different eras. When you look at these medallion guardians, don't they remind you of someone? In the first Minions movie, we also see a few Minions that are special, and one of them is the Robot Minion, with metal arms and legs that are fully functional. It's hilarious how they use this feature to steal the crown of England. This part of the movie is so amazing. While Kevin and Stuart are fistfighting Queen Elizabeth for the crown, Bob, who is the Robot Minion, makes a reference to an iconic scene from Spider-Man 2. And would you like robotic arms too? Then comment below with #robots so we know. In Despicable Me 4, we're introduced to what is probably the most dangerous variant of these villainous helpers, the Mega Minions, who are clearly inspired by Marvel's Fantastic Four. In a team composed of Dave, Tim, Mel, Gus, and Jerry, the Anti-Villain League chooses 5 Minions to gain superpowers. And of course, this is an awful idea because the result is beings with Minions' maturity and superhuman abilities. Mega Dave has super strength, Mega Tim can stretch over 1 kilometer long, Mega Mel can release an unstoppable laser beam capable of slicing through a planet, Mega Gus has the ability to fly, and Mega Jerry has taken on the form and indestructible nature of a rock, much like Marvel's Thing. Could the Super Minions end up joining the Avengers? Even with so many versions, Minions are already diverse by themselves. Since the first movie, they've loved dressing up and making references to all kinds of pop culture, like in Gru's wedding when they imitated village people, or when they disguised themselves as regular people to sneak into places where they definitely don't belong. But as you probably already know, the Minions have their own identities, and they're divided into different types. Each of our little yellow friends has a name. Do you know them all? There are the tall Minions with 2 eyes, who are skinny with sprout-like hair, like the most famous of them, Kevin, who was the one to grow gigantic. But there are others like him, such as Ken, who had that iconic scene trying to save kittens from the purple minion who was about to eat them. Adrian, who hosted a basketball special trying to figure out who was the greatest of all time, Jordan or LeBron. And then there's Paul. He didn't do much, but he's still there. We also have Tim, who played the father in That Fake Family and the cop in the Village People cover. And so we can all dance like the Minions, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notifications. There are also the taller Minions with spiky hair and 2 eyes, like Larry. He's one of those Minions who made fun of the head of the Anti-Villain League when he said his name, and we found out that the guy has the word butt in his last name. No wonder. Silas Ramsbottom? What kind of name is that? But there are also those with just 1 eye, divided into different types, like the ones with spiky hair, such as Carl, who makes the fire truck siren sound whenever there's a fire. One of the most iconic scenes in Despicable Me is him entering with lights on his head. Or Donnie, who made a hilarious impression of the Brazilian singer Carmen Miranda. Wearing a super flashy tropical fruit wig while dancing, he also does the same imitation at the end of the movie alongside the Village Minions people. And then there's Bob, who was likely the first Minion to fly into space, as he was used as a test subject by Dr. Nefario for the anti-gravity serum. That's probably why he was replaced by the other Bob with mechanical arms. But don't worry, astronaut Bob was rescued. But it's interesting to see Bob surviving without many problems in space because this could reinforce the theory that the Minions are a form of life that came from outer space. We know they evolved on planet Earth, but nothing prevents them from having been thrown here by some alien civilization when they were unicellular beings. Or could it be that the Minions are immortal? There are also the tidier Minions with combed hair, like Stuart, who almost ate his friends because he thought they were bananas. And he's not a fan of Dave. Speaking of Dave, he's the one who launched a missile at his own brothers and learned to speak the Purple Minion's language in the second movie. And there's the other Jerry, who's one of the short, chubby Minions with spiky hair. He's Gru's helper and is responsible for putting the girls to bed. Then there's Jeff, who loves to disguise himself as a woman and making faces at the supermarket televisions. And finally Mel, who was one of the Mega Minions. But without the superpowers, he's one of Gru's henchmen with a unique hairstyle. He was the one who coordinated the prison break and led the Minion Rebellion in Despicable Me 3. This is interesting because the Minions escaped from prison and returned to Gru's side even after being separated from him. Theoretically, the little yellow Minions follow the most villainous, but Gru has stopped being a villain. There are many other Minions that may be recognizable by name in the Despicable Me movies. Let us know if you missed any. We've picked out 2 more videos for you to enjoy. See you in the next video!